As I often say here in the very heart of London, you're only literally seconds away from some wonderful history. History that really you have no idea about, and you literally are standing and walking in the footsteps of said history. What I find fascinating about this particular story, though, is it's a place really that was seen as the decadent place to be seen in when it opened in the late 1930s. And it was the place that even royals popped in to be seen, like Wallis Simpson, who apparently bought the former king's shirts here. That's right, we're talking the decadent Dax Simpson in the very heart of London's Piccadilly. Not only was it the place to be seen, but their restaurant, you really couldn't get a table in for love nor money, as they say, seemingly because it wasn't about what you were buying, but more importantly, who you were dining with. Movie deals were done here. It's hard to imagine, but it's all about being seen in the right place at the most modernistic place of that particular period. But Simpsons of Piccadilly was more than just a royal, well, shall we say, getaway for Wallis Simpson, who apparently frequented this store quite a lot, not necessarily saying just buying shirts for the former king. That's apparently what some of the staff were led to believe. If you could read their, shall we say, ledger, it was quite fascinating. Now it remains under lock and key. But of course today it is the headquarters of the international bookstore that is Waterstones. Yes, and for a very brief period they even had another royal back in their window, Prince Harry, with his book Spare. Yes, you see, everything comes a full circle in the end. But you see, Simpsons was also pivotal in, shall we say, an iconic British sitcom that everybody still loves around the world today. If I mention the words Captain Peacock, Mrs. Slocum, Mr. Humphreys, Mr. Granger, well, you know what I'm talking about. The brilliant Are You Being Served? And this is where really the idea for the former assistant and sometime floor walker, co-writer along with David Croft, Jeremy Lloyd, came up with the idea of Are You Being Served? Now, I was lucky enough to meet and interview David Croft, a wonderful man who was just very shy actually, but he pointed out to me that literally everybody was picked from the characters that Jeremy met while working there. Amazing to think. This store, as I say, was the place to be seen in. And as Jeremy Lloyd pointed out, everybody from Orson Welles to all the major movie stars of the day came in to buy their clothes. And they were literally treated and welcomed by a Captain Peacock. David Croft said that initially, when they started doing the series, they would base themselves in the restaurant to sort of get a feel of how the store operated. Everything from the lift opening to, who they could expect to see wandering around looking at said sort of store. And it's fascinating to think that those people were being picked apart by these super producers to weave into storylines. I said to David Croft, and I did meet Molly Sugden, who played Mrs. Slocum later on in life. I said, was there truly a Mrs. Slocum? He said, there was more than one Mrs. Slocum, Neil, in Simpsons. We just decided only to have one. There was more than one Mr. Humphreys. Remember, there were a lot of floors. Now, when you think about it today and you wander around these decadent floors of the late 1930s, it's hard to believe what's gone on and how it had inspired an international hit. According to David Croft, when they first made the very first series, the BBC didn't like it and they told him to get rid of the camp, effeminate man. That was, of course, John Inman playing Mr. Humphreys. Nobody's going to buy a series with that in. He insisted it stayed in. But it was actually a TV strike which got the series shown on prime time. Somebody found something and said, well, we'll give this a whirl. They put it literally on, and as they say, history was made. If you're in London and you want to find out the inspiration for that particular series that is loved, as I say, around the world, then this is it. Are You Being Served was literally created by going through these doors by the brilliant production team of Jeremy Lloyd and David Croft. So now you know. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.